Hello, my name's Colin Winberg and I have the privilege of hosting this webinar today. I'd like to welcome you wherever you're from. We've got people from the UK, Africa, Australia, New Zealand, so all over the place. So whether it's morning, afternoon or evening, welcome, and I thank you for taking the time to come on board. Just to give you a quick background on myself, that I got involved in the crypto market probably around 18, 19 months ago. And before that, a few friends had spoken to me about it, but been in business most of my life. I've been in business for myself since I was around 21, and I'm currently 51 years old from Australia. And I'd seen things come and go, and I almost dismissed. Well, actually, at the start, I did dismiss crypto. But since then, I've got heavily involved. I've got a large part of my portfolio in crypto because I believe it is the future. And at the start, I started to buy coins, and then I found out there was a better way to get crypto, because when you're buying coins, you're buying them at retail. So I found out to manufacture or get them at wholesale or cost was a lot better, and that's got to do with crypto mining. So today we're going to talk to you a little bit about crypto, just for those of you who have no knowledge, just to fill you in a little bit, and then we're going to go into crypto mining and explain what that is and the benefits of that. So what I'd like to show you today is, first of all, to start off with a proven system for making money with crypto. And when I talk about crypto, I'm talking about any of the coins, whether they be Bitcoins or alternative coins, okay? So the first thing to understand is that no prior skills or experience in crypto is required. That's pretty important, because even if you're going to go just to buying coins or anything else, you need to have a bit of background and you need to have a skill set that goes with it. It's perfect for those with little time, which is really important for most of us, because most of us already have a job, a business, or a lot of time with a family. And most of us in today's world have very little time to spend on things that are going to improve ourselves. And it's a wide range of entry-level options. So that means we can accommodate most people's budgets, which is also important, from the people who want to invest a lot to the people who just want to put a small amount in and give it a try. We look at these two guys here, Bill Gates on the left and Richard Branson on the right. Both of those have been strong advocates for the blockchain and cryptocurrency. As a matter of fact, for those who don't understand the blockchain, think about like the websites and internets. Websites run on the internet. A website can be good or bad, but the internet's awesome. The same as the blockchain. The blockchain, and I'll show you a little video soon that explains this a little bit better, but the blockchain's the technology behind all the crypto coins. And I was reading an article recently that said that the blockchain will do to the world what the internet did to the world. And we all know what a difference the internet's made, okay? And the blockchain will do the same. When Bill Gates first found out about the blockchain, what he did was he sent a crew to actually go and try and hack into it to see whether it was hackable. And they couldn't do it. And that's why he's really impressed with it and backs it big time. He also, when Bitcoin was less than $100 a coin, he was talking about Bitcoin reaching $50,000 a coin. Today, people are talking about Bitcoin reaching $500,000 to $1 million plus per coin. So we look at that. The CEO of Twitter said that within 10 years, he expects Bitcoin will be the absolute currency of the world. So these are some big claims by people with a lot of credibility. And when we take a look at that, we think, well, why is that? Well, predominantly what it is, it's just the evolution of money. And if we take a look, 6,000 years ago, people used to trade cattle, cloths and shells. Now that became a bit of a challenge, because if you wanted to just buy something small and you take a cow down there, what do you get for change? You can't just cut off a leg of your cow and give it to them. So 3,000 years ago, coins were introduced. Now, coins were a significant advance, but once again, for big purchases, you needed big amounts of coin, which became really heavy and cumbersome. So in the 17th century, first banknotes were issued. Now, moving money became a whole lot easier. In the 1950s, the first credit cards were introduced. Okay, this led us into the digital age, where no longer needed any cash, you could just put it on card. And of course, in 2009, the first Bitcoin was mined. So what do I mean by mined? What I'm going to do is show you a quick video now Hopefully it's going to play all right. I've had some challenges with my internet and a few arguments with my internet service provider, but if not, just read the texts that come up with it. So this is going to explain a little bit about Bitcoin, a little bit about cryptocurrency, and what mining actually is.
So what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a revolutionary technology that enables a new way to send payments over the internet. You can think of it as an open accounting system where thousands of computers all over the world work together to track ownership of digital tokens called Bitcoins. When you send someone Bitcoins, the transaction is broadcast to the entire network. After it's verified, it's recorded in a public ledger called the blockchain. The blockchain contains a record of every Bitcoin transaction that has occurred since the system began, and it's shared and maintained on the network, so everyone keeps the books, so to speak. Most currencies are issued by a central authority that controls the money supply. Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer system, so there is no central authority. Instead, Bitcoins are issued to users who help process transactions in the network. This is known as Bitcoin mining. Bitcoin miners are specialized computers that do the work required to verify and record transactions in the blockchain. As a reward for their work, the miners earn Bitcoins, and this is how new Bitcoins are released into circulation. The system is programmed so that only 21 million Bitcoins will ever exist, and as time goes by, the mining reward decreases. The result is a predictable supply that's governed by scarcity, making Bitcoin somewhat like a digital gold. It's the first currency of the internet, and everyone is free to use it. With Bitcoin, you can send any amount of money to anyone, anywhere in the world, as easily as sending an email.
Okay, so that gives us a little bit of an explanation of Bitcoin and mining. When they were talking about Bitcoins released, there's currently 12.5 Bitcoin are released every 10 minutes into the Bitcoin economy. And that's what that's for, is to reward the miners, okay? So every 10 minutes, 12.5 get released, and depending on your mining capacity will depend on how much of that you get. There's a couple of things I really like about Bitcoin. Let's go through the top 4. First one is that Bitcoin's not owned by any government. And I think this is great because a lot of governments, when they mismanage money, they cost the people a fortune. For example, a couple of guys get into a room, they make some decisions, and all of a sudden their currency is worth nothing. Well, that means the whole country's savings are suddenly worth nothing just because of a couple of people's decisions. So I like the fact that it's not owned by any government. It's not owned by any corporation or bank either. And that's really important because I think we've seen in the Western world that banks and corporations certainly don't have the average person's best intentions So, I don't want to go bank bashing, but, there's no doubt that the banks and corporations do not look after us. The third one, which as they said in the video, it's 100% decentralized. So that's good rather than the centralization that we currently have, and it's user controlled and verified. Now, if you want to know more about Bitcoin, just go to blockchain.info. That has pretty much all the information you need. But the lines I like there is Bitcoin's just starting to enter the investment phase, where venture capitalists, hedge funds and other financial firms are starting to invest money and capital into this technology. And I believe that you're going to see a lot of that happening over the next 6 to 12 months, where a lot of these big places are putting a lot of money in, which is going to make the increase of Bitcoin. Now, the increase of value. Remember when I was saying that, a lot of people predicting it's going to go to $500,000 to $1 million a coin? And because there's only ever 21 million coins out there with 4 million still yet to be released, it's governed by scarcity, which means the more money goes in, it's going to push that price up. Now, I was reading an article where someone talked about they believe it'll hold 10% of the Forex market. Well, the Forex market's currently $5.5 trillion a day. So if they hit 10%, and if they hit 10%, I can't imagine it wouldn't go higher, that's 550 billion. Divide that by 17 million, and you're going to get a fair amount of where Bitcoin's going to go. I used to think that I'd missed the boat, but on the scale, on this being a bell curve, we're only where the tech enthusiasts are. So we're, around here. Currently, they say that 0.6% of the world's population is currently holding any cryptocurrency. If that's the case, then we're right at the very start of this. And what that means is that everyone on this call today can take advantage of this market. Now, we've seen wealth being built like I know this young person and in his 20s, and he'd be worth over 150 million through cryptocurrency. Now, apart from tech, it's very hard to see that sort of money made at such an early age. And with tech, you've got to be the right person at the right time to hit that right technology to make it work. In this, the wealth will be shared. I also read another quote that said that they believe that this will help the poorest countries in the world lift their poverty rating. So whether that happens or not, yet to be seen. But I certainly know there's a lot of advantages out there to be taken in the crypto field. There's basically three ways to create wealth through Bitcoins. The first one is buy Bitcoin. The second is to trade. And the third is to mine. Let me give you a couple of seconds on what I see as the pros and cons on each of these. Buying Bitcoin's great. And there's a lot of people that have done that and they've made a lot of money from it. But when you buy Bitcoin, you've only got X amount. So when do you sell it? Do you sell it when it hits 20,000, 50, 100, 200, 500,000? And once you've sold it, it's gone. Now you can make a lot of wealth by doing that, but it's not ongoing wealth. It's a one-off. To trade Bitcoin, well, that needs a skill. And the skill and also time. I mean, you need to be looking at the markets. You need to be reading the white papers of each coin to find out which ones are going to be valuable, because there's a lot of coins out there that absolutely have no value. So you need to define which ones are good and which ones aren't. It'll take you probably a couple of hours a day, and it needs a skill on how to buy and sell and how to chart all that. The third one is to mine Bitcoin. And as I was saying earlier, what you're basically doing is getting it at wholesale, if not cost, rather than paying retail, which you do in strategy one of buying Bitcoin. Because when you mine, when you solve these algorithm problems and when you do these verifications, you get paid in the coin that you verify. So let's just stick with Bitcoin on this. So you'll get a little bit of Bitcoin every day you're doing that. Now let's take a look at strategy one. Bill currently buys 2 Bitcoin and he's sitting on that. Now let's say if I'm mining, and it depends on how much mining capacity I have, and mining's measured in what they call gigahash. And if you think about gigahash in old traditional mining, it's just equivalent to your shovels and picks. So the more shovels and picks you've got, the more mining you're going to do. In this, the more gigahash, which is computing power, the more mining you're going to do. But let's just say I've got X amount of mining capacity and it takes me 2 years to mine 2 Bitcoins. Well, Harry's got 2 Bitcoins, so have I. So what happens on day one? After that, I've got 2 Bitcoin plus a little bit more. A week later, a little bit more. A month later, a lot more. What that means is now I can spend my Bitcoin and still have Bitcoin coming in. Where the person who's holding 2 Bitcoin, they're stuck, and when they sell it, they're gone. The other thing is, because it needs no skill and no expertise, and more importantly, no time, mining Bitcoin is going to be a lot better for most people. Okay, so let me talk about the company I'm associated with, Galaxy Mining. When we take a look at the mining pools, which is how you mine, in the old days, and not that long ago, in 2009, you used to be able to have one computer sitting at home and it could just sit there and churn out Bitcoin. Today, there are mining pools. And why is that? Because the bigger the pool, the more chance you've got of being the one that actually solves the verification challenges and mines the Bitcoin. Now, there's currently 18 major pools out there. And over here, we see where the percentages are. And that's probably the cutoff point just there. Because if you've got less than 5%, you need to increase your mining capacity considerably, or you're going to be left behind. Currently, we're associated with the slush pool, which is at 12.2%. But our goal is with Galaxy Mining is to be in the top 3 mines by 2020. So what does that mean? That means we need to increase our mining pool substantially. Now, the other thing with a lot of mining out there at the moment, I was reading an article that talked about that up to 80% of mines out there at the moment are Ponzi's or scams. Why? Well, when I show you the returns I've been getting from mining, it lends itself to being that. So what makes Galaxy Mining any better? Well, we're partnered with the best and most reputable professionals in the industry who have the largest mine in North America, and they've been successfully mining since 2011. Galaxy Mining joined these people in about 2.5 years ago, and what they do is we now install the hardware in their mines to create a turnkey real mining opportunity. You've got to be really careful who you choose to partner with, and that's because there are mines collapsing all the time. There was one that was giving better returns. They weren't a lot better, but they were better returns than Galaxy Mining, probably about the start of the year. And then last week, they sent out a notice to all their miners saying they're shutting down all their Bitcoin mining. So if you had a Bitcoin contract with them, it's now worthless. And that's a challenge, because if you haven't got your money back, you're now losing money. And no one wants to do that. So who you partner with is really, really important. And I think just those stats on that page that they've been, who we're partnered with has been mining since 2011 and have the largest mine in North America is really significant. So what we know is that Galaxy Mining has the best multi-mining platform in the world that allows you to mine both Bitcoins and altcoins. Altcoins are just any coin that's not a Bitcoin. Okay, so there's some great examples of Ethereum, Litecoin, Monero, etc. It's one of the most secure and trusted real mines in mining operations. As I was saying, there's a lot of scams out there. I've read one about a Vietnamese company the other day, and they had, I think it was $35 million of their machines run off with, and they think it was the CEO, but they're not quite sure. And once again, there's a lot of scams and you need to be extremely careful. So Galaxy Mining is absolutely real. And we also have a proven growth strategy. That's really important, because in mining, if you're not going forwards, you're going backwards at an alarming rate. Galaxy Mining also opens their mines to the miners one day a year. And this was about November last year, and we had everyone from South Africa, Zimbabwe, Pakistan, Malaysia, Australia, the UK, all over the world coming in, and you can check out the mines. And on the bottom left, you see those fans. They're just blowing cold air in because these are incredibly noisy and get incredibly hot. On the far right, you see just rack after rack after rack of mining equipment. The great thing about it is you know it's real and you can go there and visit it at any time. So how do you participate? Well, there's a once-off joining fee. If you're in Africa, it's $600. If you're in Australia, New Zealand, the UK, it's currently $400 because they're just opening those markets, so they've discounted their joining rate. And that's a once-off commitment to join Lifestyle Galaxy. Now, that's actually quite good value, because I've seen you can buy as many mining contracts once you've joined, and all you do is pay for the mining contract. I've seen a lot of other mines that'll charge between $100 to $200 every time you take on a new mining contract. So for example, if you want to get a Bitcoin and an altcoin one, and some of the other mines, there's $200 to $400 just there to do that. And every time you want to increase that, you're going to pay that again. We have a once-off joining fee, which is really good value. And our mining contracts start from as low as 500 US, and you can see they go to 1,000, 2,000, 2.5, 5, and 10,000, and you can get bigger if you want. Now, if we take a look here, what's the difference in the value? Well, if we look here, the gigahash that you're buying is 0.1618, okay, if you take out a $500 one. You go all the way to 10,000 and you're getting your gigahash a lot cheaper, 14.5 cents. It makes a big difference every day when you're repurchasing and what you're buying your gigahash at. As I was saying, the Galaxy's goal is to be one of the 3 biggest mines on the blockchain by 2020. Now, to do this, they need definitive, clear strategies. The first one is a repurchasing compound strategy. So what they do is a minimum of 35% all Bitcoin mined every day is used to repurchase. And I'm thinking, why would they do that? Well, there's what they call a difficulty curve. And when the person who invented Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, when he came up with the whole algorithm of Bitcoin, he put in a difficulty rating that increases by roughly around 3% a week. It's not exactly that, and sometimes it goes in bursts, so it's not the smooth linear line. But he did that because computing power is always going to grow. And you can understand when he invented this in 2009, by 2018, the computing power would be vastly different. The difficulty curve keeps that even. Otherwise, the mine, all the coins have been mined well before 2140, which is what he designed it to be. So what that means is if you take out a mining contract and you're not increasing your mining capacity, and these figures aren't exact, but you're going to get the idea. On day one, you might be returning $10. After 3 years, you might be returning $3 or $4. But by reinvesting 35%, it does two things. One, it keeps you ahead of the difficulty curve. And two, every day our mining capacity grows automatically. And we're talking about the whole mine here as a cluster. And as that grows, everyone benefits. So it's a great thing. You know, the human spirit, if at the end of the day, if at day one you were mining $10 and the end of 3 years you're mining $3, you're going to be depressed. Most people are, or you're going to be a little bit upset about the fact of how your returns are diminishing. There's also a form of mining called cloud mining, and they don't own anything. And what happens, and they don't reinvest, and what happens there is the difficulty curve ends up catching up with them and their mining contracts are virtually useless. So that repurchasing compounding strategy is extremely important to keep our mine growing and to keep everyone's returns growing, which is obviously what everyone wants. So what we do is we take a minimum of 35%. And over here, you'll see it's as easy as choosing 35% and in 5% increments all the way up to 100%. Why would you do 100%? Well, some people might not want their money today. So by buying more gigahash every single day, so you're reinvesting 100% every single day, your goal is that when you do take it out, you're going to get a whole lot more back. A great example of that, let's say you bought 10,000 gigahash, you reinvest 100%, within 2 years you might be up to 30,000 gigahash. Obviously you're going to mine a lot more with 30,000 than you are with 10,000. There's one person who mines with Lifestyle Galaxy. He's reinvested 100% for a couple of years now. He's up over a pentahash, which is a really large amount of mining capacity. And his goal is that by 2020, he wants to be pulling out a third of a Bitcoin a day. Sorry, a tenth a day, which would mean 3 Bitcoins a month. Now, if by then Bitcoin's worth 100,000, 200,000 a coin, imagine pulling out 3 of those every single month. So the other option is you can take out 65% and then put that into any independent wallet. Now, with the wallet, there is a wallet with Lifestyle Galaxy, or depending on what country you are, some of them you can take them back to a credit card. In Australia, it's very easy to move back to any wallet here and then just move it to your bank within 24 hours. But each country is going to have different ways on how you can withdraw your money, and it's relatively easy to do. Some countries are extremely easy, some a little bit harder, depends upon your country. So what I'd like to do now is just show you some of my mining returns. Now, what I did was I put in two $2,500 contracts in the 20th of August 2017. And what I did was for the first 4 months, I bought an altcoin, which is the alternative coins, and a Bitcoin. For the first 4 months, I reinvested 100%. Then the next 4 months, I only reinvested 35% and took out the maximum of 65%. So after 8 months, these are my returns here. Now you can see my initial purchase here was 92.5 plus 18.5 gave me 111 gigahash. Sorry, megahash, because altcoins are measured in megahash, Bitcoin's gigahash. My repurchases to this date are over 73.5 megahash, giving me a total of 183. And remember, I started at 111. But I'd also pulled out 1.5 Ethereum coins, which gave me almost $1,000. So because this is 8 months down the track, if we divide that by 8, it's giving me a return of about 13.16% per month for every month. Great return. If we could go one step and look at our Bitcoin, as I said, this is measured in gigahash. So I purchased 16,500. At this stage, I returned 15.4, which gave me a total of almost 32,000 gigahash. I'd taken out 0.136 of a Bitcoin. At that stage, it was worth $1,250 because Bitcoin was 9,140. So even there, that just gave me 50% just there on my money because I only put 2,500 in, plus the other gigahash that I'd grown. Because obviously, if I wanted to get to 16,500, if I wanted a new 16,500, I'd have to put in 2,500 because that's what it was worth. So here, I've almost got that back. What that does is give me a return of about 17.9%. Now, I have done a video, and the video is more in depth, so just ask the person who referred you to this to send you to that video that's more in depth on that. And the other thing I need to tell you, and I should have done this at the start, so I apologise, is that past results do not guarantee future returns, okay? These are real examples, and they are a real live mine of mine, and I'm happy to share those results. But the company talks about up to 5%. So I recommend to anyone, when you're doing your figures on this and you're making a decision whether you want to become involved or not, do it on 5%. I'd much rather under-promise and over-deliver than over-promise and under-deliver. All right, so that's really important. These are real examples, but do your figures on 5%. If you're happy to make that, or up to 5%, if you're happy to make that per month, then that's great. If not, well, then maybe this isn't for you. But I'd like you to show me where else you can get up to 5% per month return, because there aren't too many places to see that. Now, there's two strategies of growing our mining capacity. The first one was the repurchasing compound, and the second one is to grow the mining community, which is why you're on this webinar today. Someone's invited you to do that. And why is that? Because more miners obviously equals more mining, which means more repurchasing, which means our whole mine as a whole grows quicker and we have more mining capacity. So that's really important because as our mine grows, everyone's returns grow with that, which is really good. But we also get incentivized, which is why you've been invited along today. What the company does is they look at that and they say, we can go advertise, but no one knows who we are. So we get incentivized, and the reason they've done that is because there's nothing better than a happy customer to tell someone else what they're happy about. So for everyone we refer, we get a once-off commission for each personally sold Lifestyle Galaxy Value Club. That $400 or $600 I was showing you, that we get a once-off from that. We also get ongoing residual income from all miners. So let me explain how that works. We call this strategy 2. Strategy 1 is buying a mining contract. Strategy 2 is to buy a mining contract and grow the mining community. Let's say you involve two friends, Jack and Jill. Excuse my non-originality with the names, but it does the job. So once you personally refer two miners, one in each team, you get qualified. What that qualification is to make bonuses or commissions, if you like. Now, these commissions are paid to unlimited depth, no matter who adds miners to your community. So even though you added Jack and Jill might add some, someone else might add some more. And all that mining volume adds to your bonus. Let me give you an example of how that could work. Let's say you end up with 100 members in your team. And that doesn't mean you put in 100 members. That means your team's grown to 100 members. That's roughly going to be worth around $2,500 a month. Now, these are rough figures, and some will be more, some will be less, depending on what happens. But that's how that works. Let's go to the next step and say your team grows to 1,000 members. Well, that's going to be worth $25,000 per month. This is now life-changing. As a matter of fact, if we take a look at 2,500, that's pretty life-changing for most people. The reason why? That's money on top of what you're currently earning. So even though you've got all your bills and everything paid, now you've got an extra $2,500 a month you can do something with. That would help most people. But the $25,000 is definitely life-changing. If you had that coming in every month, month after month, your options there have just increased. Now, we all know that money doesn't make you happy. What it does, it gives you more options in life. At $25,000 a month, you have a lot more options. So this is why a lot of people choose to grow the mining community. One, it helps us all because the more mining members we have, the stronger is our mining pool and we get better rewards in. So that helps. Plus, we get commission for it, and that extra money will certainly, there aren't too many people who couldn't do something with extra money. So let me introduce two people from the company. David Martin, who's the founder and the Chief Visionary Officer. And that's probably important because of the fact that he really helps us go the direction we need to go. He was the one who got us into mining, and he also leads the company. The Ken Brow's the CEO. And the reason I put this here is because the first thing we do when we go to look for something new is we Google it. And Google's become, pretty much our first 2 point anytime we want to know something. Now, there's one company out there, and they put some stuff negative about David and Ken up there. And what that's for, you need to understand that what that's for is that they do that to attract traffic, because anytime someone Googles something, they're going to look for the negative. So this guy's put that there. Well, I wanted to see if this company was real. So personally, I flew from Australia across to America, went to a conference they had. I met David Martin, I met Ken, I went and checked out the mine where you saw the pictures before, and I made out that was real. So I needed to see these guys, I need to look in the eye, I need to talk to them and make sure that everything that they said about the company was true. And as far as I could tell, it was. So I came back and I sent an email to the person from this site and I said, look, you've put this stuff about David Martin and Ken Brow up there, and I don't believe it's real. I believe I've met them and started up. Well, he sent me back a letter full of profanity, telling me what he thought of me. And I said, well, I said, have you got any proof to this? He said, I don't have to prove anything to you, and gave me some more profanity. I said, well, if you're going to stand by that stuff, why don't you put your name on the site? And he said, if I put my name on the site, people are going to sue me. And I think that just pretty much covers it. The other thing, forget all that. Just from a logic point of view, if this was half the stuff he said, it's a scam. He said, David Martin's not real, and even if he is real, he's a crook. Well, make up your mind. He's either not real or he is. And the other thing is, if this was a scam, there'd be stuff everywhere. There wouldn't just be one or two sites doing this. So it's a strategy where they drag people in through the negative. Your choice on whether you want to believe that or not, but I'm just letting you know it's out there. So with Galaxy Mining, we've got two growth strategies: to grow your mine and grow the mining community. That's really important, both of those, because that's what gives them a successful mine, and that's what stops them from going under like most of the other, or a lot of other mines do. Every month you'll see something about some mine going under or going down. We've also got trusted Bitcoin and altcoin mining, which is increasing all the time. Here you can see some of the coins we mine: Ethereum, Expanse, Zcash, Dash, Litecoin, there's Bitcoin Cash, there's Monero, there's a lot of other, and that's been added to all the time. And this is also important because let me give you an example here. Last year, they were mining Expanse, and they found out that Expanse was an undermined coin. So they were getting between 30 to 40% a month returns by mining Expanse. So what the company's done is they're now looking at coins that are undermined, and they're notifying us, being the mining community, so that we can mine those coins and get better returns. This is one of the things that Galaxy Mining do for us so that we get better returns from our dollar. So what choices have you got today? Well, basically there's three. Strategy one of buying a mining contract. This is one that a lot of people choose. The one most people choose though is a buy a contract and grow a mining community. Because let's face it, with those returns I showed you, 13 and 17%, but even forget that, let's just go back to the bare basics and say your return was only 5% per month. If you didn't tell your family and friends, well, you'd be a bit of a mongrel, okay? Because we're going to tell the people we care for when we find something good. The same way we do when we go to a movie, have a good restaurant, a good experience, we tell others. And that's what happens here. And this is why most people choose strategy two. The other one, of course, is to do nothing. Now, I can understand that you might need more information and you might need it verified, these figures that I've shown you today. Not a problem with that. But if you've literally seen this and see nothing in it for yourself, this honestly is not for you. And that, that's not having to go at anyone. That's just a fair call. If you can see this and say that you've got no interest in it, then this really is not for you. But as I said, most people choose strategy two. But the problem they have with that is they say, Colin, I'm not a salesman, I'm not a salesperson, I'm not good at speaking or presenting. How do I do strategy two? Well, it's as simple as this. You send someone a video link, probably very similar to how you were invited here today. You invite them to a live meeting or to a webinar that's being held. And once you've done that, you get them in front of someone who can answer their questions. That could be live, that could be over the phone in a three-way call, that could be through Skype or WhatsApp or whatever you're using. But it's really as simple as that. See, we don't talk anyone into it. We just present how this works and they choose whether they want to be part of that or not. Now, there's a lot of people talking that Bitcoin will be up around the 40, 50,000 by the end of the year. No one knows whether that's true or not, but a lot of people are talking that. If that happens, can you imagine the amount of people that are going to be looking to get into the crypto market? It will be a lot. Now, most of them, if not all of them, are going to look for somewhere extremely safe. And we've got a great option to offer them of a safe way where they can mine. It doesn't take their time. They don't need skill or expertise. It's a really good option. So, Richard Branson, I love this quote. I've used this through my business life all the time. If somebody offers you an amazing opportunity, but you're not sure you can do it, say yes and learn how to do it later. I've done that many times. So if you're not sure if this is you, get back to the person who invited you along. You'll get an email from me asking me if you've got any questions, just email me back. I'm happy to help you out there. But get back to the person who invited you along. They're going to be your support team and they're going to help you out the most. So I strongly suggest you do that. This is good. This does work. This will stand up to any scrutiny you want to give it. So I'd suggest that you take the time to do that, to learn about it, and I think you're going to be pleasantly happy with where you go from here. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this today. And we look forward to seeing you part of Lifestyle Galaxy and part of our mining community. Thanks a lot for your time.